Hello and welcome to the second ever episode of the Pride Football Thoughts podcast. Joining me this evening, as ever, is my illustrious co-host, Clark. How are you?
All good, bro. All good. How are you?
You're okay? I'm not so bad. It's been a physical week for me. I'm a bit tired.
Week.
Physical, yeah, very physical. I'm a bit tired of that, but I'm also tired of other things. Namely our beloved Chelsea.
Yeah.
So obviously 2 losses since we last recorded. That's one at Dortmund and one to bottom of the table Southampton, which we'll get to in a bit. But I think first we should mention that Aspi obviously had a terrible injury in that game. We'll talk a bit more about it later. And everyone who listens to this probably knows that already. But reports, and actually from the Chelsea YouTube account I've seen, he's back at Cobham at the training ground, and he's not training. I think he's on a concussion protocol. But he's okay. He's all right. So that's good. And then I think the second thing we should mention, obviously, is the news of one of our former players, Christian Atsu, the Ghanaian winger, was unfortunately, tragically found dead in the rubble of the collapsed building that he lived in the city of Antakya Hatay in Turkey, which was obviously ravaged by a ridiculous earthquake a couple of weeks ago, which is obviously terrible news. He signed for us in 2013 from Porto. He didn't actually make any competitive appearances. He was loaned out to 5 different clubs. One of the last being Newcastle, who then signed him permanently after his season there on loan. So he actually played a lot more for Newcastle than he did for us. But I still think it's right that we mention and kind of send our condolences.
Yeah, definitely, and rest in peace. And along with everybody else in the tragedy in Turkey, and they've just had another earthquake, another 2 earthquakes,
really,
further on, about 6.3 magnitude. So, our heart goes out for all the families and everyone that's going through everything over there. So,
yeah, definitely, it's terrible, isn't it? And it somehow it feels so weird, doesn't it, as well, when it's like somebody who used to play for your club and you kind of know their name, and we didn't even know him very well, but I think it's always feels really hard to take when someone's so young and still you might think, they could probably play for another 5 or 6 years.
Definitely, yeah.
So as you said though, thoughts out to everyone affected, not just those who were footballers. Just a terrible scenes, and hopefully things get better over there sooner rather than later. We should probably move on then, with that being said, to the football.
Yes.
As I said just a minute ago, 2 games since we last recorded. Dortmund in the Champions League and Southampton in the Premier League. Let's go to Dortmund first, as they did happen the night that we recorded last week.
We'll go over to Dortmund now. Bo, what's happening over there, mate? How's it going?
It's not going well. It's going terribly again. Oh dear.
So Dortmund. So with Borussia Dortmund, we had a lineup, a sort of standard lineup, but what, we're glad to see Chile back, and James both on the starting, and then we got Koulibaly instead of Badiashile in the middle, with Silva and Arrizabalaga in goal.
Nice.
And then we got RLC, Enzo, Ziyech, Felix Mudryk, and Havertz up front. So it wasn't too bad of a lineup. The only sort of qualms I've got with it is Koulibaly and Ziyech. But it is what it is. I think is Badiashile not registered to play.
Exactly.
So I'll let Potter off for that just a little bit.
What can he do?
But Ziyech needs to be thrown in the bin. So, but it is what it is. So that was the lineup. So I was actually looking forward to both of our really good fullbacks being back on the field, and obviously the link up of all the 3 new players with them as well. But it was our first ever game against Borussia Dortmund, which struck me quite surprisingly, to be honest, because I swear we'd gone against them before, but apparently not. So it was our first ever game, and what a game it was, for them.
It was. Well, I mean, it was a decent game to watch. there was a lot of hijinks. I think I think both teams had good chances and entertaining moments. I mean, Dortmund are like the archetype of Bundesliga football. They just don't do defending.
No.
They're just not bothered about defending. But what they do really well is counterattacks and football, what they call in transition.
Yes.
Which might be one of those kind of new hipster things. But I did think, as you were saying, we had a nice link here of lots of really key and what I would say are good players.
Oh yeah.
So I did expect more from us, but that does seem obviously to be kind of the vibe, the way that the vibe that our season's going. I wasn't too perturbed by the starting lineup. I don't think the performance was so bad, but obviously, this is a Champions League.
Yeah,
you can't just perform not bad and expect to get results.
Exactly.
And Dortmund, although they've had a weird up and down season, by the time they got to us, they had won every single game since the World Cup.
Yeah, I think
seven in a row. I think
7 or 8.
7 in a row.
Yeah.
So they were in red hot form,
banging
in goals. So that made me more nervous, and those nerves proved to be true.
Yeah. I think that even probably rubbed off on the players as well. Obviously, these stats get passed around the training room. Dressing room. And I think you've got a sense of where Borussia Dortmund's coming from, and how well they're performing. And then they've got so much young talent; it's unreal. And we're starting a good team. But it's not a well-formed team at the moment.
Yeah.
There's no bonds there, especially in Borussia Dortmund. It's away, it's Champions League, and you're in front of the yellow wall, which was 80,000
people. Yeah.
So not a small stadium.
Atmosphere sounded amazing.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah,
absolutely amazing.
And I love Borussia Dortmund. That's the thing. I do like
cool
Borussia
team,
Dortmund, just because I just love the fans and everything like that. But you know what, going against them is heartbreaking, because it's just I know how good they are, and I know how tremendous their fans are in the stadium, and what they actually bring to the game to lift all of their players up all the bloody time. So it was quite nerve-wracking even just watching it. So going into it, we've got Koulibaly starting and got a yellow card in 3 minutes.
He has a habit of doing that. He loves doing that.
Which sort of started this trend in the game of yellow cards being handed out like nothing, basically. There was 10 yellow cards in the game, and we had 4 of them. And obviously Dortmund had 6. There was a lot of sort of like argy-bargy, if you would say, in the game. It was back and forth, and it's competitive, obviously, but there was a lot of stupid fouls. There was a lot of stupid little incidents here, there, and everywhere, all over the field. And I think once that happens, I think Borussia Dortmund just had us in the back pocket, mentally, anyway. And I think that really affected them. And I think you could really see it, that it affected them as well. With Chile finally starting alongside Mudryk, how do you feel that was?
Well, I think based on the kind of general fluidity, it wasn't perfect, but I definitely didn't. They're more adventurous, I think is the word, and I think over time they will form a more naturally a partnership that will suit them two better. Than other players that we have in the squad. So it wasn't great. I can't say it was great because nothing came of it, unfortunately. But it was encouraging, I guess you would say, encouraging. And actually, a lot of people said that about this game. They said, "All right, we lost, but the performance was encouraging." Does that make it any easier, any better for you, or?
I feel it was very encouraging through the play. Obviously, Chelly's just come back from a major injury, so he's still getting into it. I thought Mudryk was on absolute fire. Even in my notes, I've got, is he wearing Heelys? Because Jesus Christ, that man can move. And he was, he was trying all these little different tricks of the trade, sort of, the old Gareth Bale, pass it through 2 defenders and do the old outside run. He's very, very, absolutely rapid, very quick. But you know what? It was encouraging. It was very nice to see that both of them had the ball at times. Chile was very lackluster in the defence, if I might say so. But that, that's just down to he's been out the bloody game for so long. He's back after how many bloody months was it since the start of the season? Near enough.
So many.
Yeah. So it's like he's getting back into it. And he's been thrown into a Champions League game with a team that's been playing on fire for 7 or 8 games in a row. And all of a sudden you're coming back into this, like it's a bit unfair.
You're going to
on
struggle,
his part.
aren't you? Yeah.
And he done well for how it was going, but ultimately I think obviously he'll improve in coming weeks, hopefully. But yeah, the defense was lackluster. I mean, James. He
had a bit of a stinker.
He had a bit of a stinker, but you know what? He was okay for where in the position he was in, because coming back from injury, he hasn't been playing for months and he's back. So it's you got to give that a little pinch of salt here and there. But Koulibaly, no defense for him. He's shit. Yeah. So I was a bit annoyed at him 3 minutes in. Then we've got to worry about a bloody red card, because if you get another yellow, and Dortmund's a bloody aggressive team. So it was a bit annoying, really annoying. But
for somebody who's supposed to be like the experienced centre back in a team of young centre backs, he is so rash and just chucks himself about like at any opportunity, and he picks up yellow. I'd love to actually know what the stat is for the amount of yellows he gets per game with us, because it's got to be nearly 1 a game.
It's got to be ridiculous, because I mean, he's so aggressive and there's just no need at times. Like it's just he thinks he throws his weight around a lot. I mean, you can't do that.
But not in the right way. Not in the right way.
Exactly.
Yeah. Not smart.
And I think I like aggressive play, right? But chill out a bit. I think Silva with Badiashile, he reminds me a bit like Koulibaly, and he's very aggressive. But the thing with Badiashile, he's good with the aggression, and I think that's down to Silva guiding him. Whereas Koulibaly's older, he thinks he knows best, so he's not going to listen to Silva, or he won't intake as much as Badiashile. But we had to go along with it.
Yeah, we had to. Yeah.
There was a handball goal from Silva. That was, what? It was a bit strange. And you know what? He admitted to it straight away.
He said straight away, didn't he?
He went hand. No, wasn't And I respect that. I do respect that. And the ref was still an arsehole and gave him a yellow card. So I was like, what was the point? I don't get that. If you've admitted it as well, he was literally, as he's gone up, he's gone off balance because someone was pushing him at the same time. So he's like that. I don't know, however his hands were. he's like that, like to get his balance in the air sort of thing. And as he's gone up, he's got nudged a little bit. His hands hit it. He's held his hands up and went, it wasn't a goal. Why is that a yellow card? Is that
European referees, man?
Is that what it is?
Well, all referees, but I always find them to be more. I guess it's literally just strict to the rules, isn't it? It's like it's a handball that scored a goal.
It was an accidental one. He wasn't Souček last week. You know what I mean? So
no, exactly.
It's an accident. He literally had his hands up already. You could see he was going for the ball with his head. He wasn't trying to bloody volleyball it in. So I don't get why it was a yellow card necessarily, but I do understand at the same time.
Sure.
If you got what I mean. But as you said, European referees much better than ours because they don't take no shit. So
and then the next game that we should talk about as well that happened since we last scored it, obviously the one that's really got our knickers in a twist and got us real angry.
Oh yes,
was the 1-0 loss to bottom of the table, managerless, worst Southampton the league has ever that I ever remember seeing. I don't know if the league's ever seen a worse Southampton. They probably have, but yeah, I mean, and. I struggle for words to describe the immense feeling of disappointment that came. Not even that like we lost. That obviously sucks. But the fact that we didn't even turn up.
Nothing, absolutely nothing, and
Nothing.
It was embarrassing. It was really embarrassing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I was raging the whole way through. As you can see on the reaction if you watch that. But yeah, I was raging all the way through. My dad was next to me. He was laughing his head off. So but I was in absolute shock, disbelief, to be honest, at how poorly we played. Had these stupid little tackles that we was doing, giving away the ball, the actual ball possession being weak as anything. I mean, it's Southampton with no manager, and like the possession was like 50-50 almost. So it was just absolutely depressing, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, so like obviously, so a thing to start with, I would say, obviously, our massive major squad news leaked the day before, not even like an hour before, 2 hours before, a whole day before, which included reports that what was it? Was it Reece James wasn't going to play? Silva wasn't going to play, i.e., our two best defenders. I.e., potentially our two best players. And that there would be other rests and people not playing as well.
Or not even injured, just rested.
Rested. Yeah, just not playing. And obviously that, I think for the fans, I think for me, contributed to a feeling of pessimism. I was like, for God's sake, imagine resting in a moment like this.
You're going against the bottom of the board. We're struggling for points as it is. And I get it. They're playing a lot of football, but they're paid to do it. So it's one of those. Okay, rest them. I mean, but to not even bring them on. To not even bring them on for like 60 minutes or something, and then switch them over or something. They were literally not even on the bench. And
I know.
I feel that's so disappointing.
Like, one of the names in the list of like players who are close to injury, because a report came out, I think the day after the game, from Matt Law from the Telegraph, who is kind of like, who is the ultimate kind of Chelsea hierarchy mouthpiece and has been for years. He mentioned that Mudryk was also part of that, but Mudryk did come on later on. And did play. So if it was a fact that none of these people can play because they're too injured, why is he coming on and playing? Anyway, so that's happened. There's a problem there. Someone's leaking information out from the interior dressing room, which kind of hints to more dissatisfaction with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, blah, 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 10, 12, 20 players of the playing staff. And that culminated in a starting lineup, as you can see here: Chilwell, Badiashile, Koulibaly, Azpilicueta, Arrizabalaga, Fernandes, Kovacic, Madueke, Felix, Mount, and Fofana. David Datro Fofana, not Wesley Fofana, playing up front. How did you feel about that starting lineup for the Premier League game?
You know what? I was a bit confused at first because I didn't know if it was the app that I was using, but I did look on Motorpool, and Azpilicueta and Chilwell were switched either side. So Chilwell was stated as playing on the right and Azpi on the left, and my head just went into a spiral then, and I was like, what's going on? And then I see Mount on the left with Felix in the middle, and then David Fofana up front. And you know what? I like David Fofana, and I think he played quite well, to be honest. He had bits of, spats sort of thing. Everybody did, though. That's the thing. And he hasn't played that much for it. Is that his first game? I don't even know.
First start.
First start. Yeah. So it's like he hasn't played that much for us, and I think getting him in instead of Havertz was a good call anyway. Even though Havertz did come on later, and he did actually play okay. But it's again, I like that we had an actual forward to play in that role. But Azpi with the Koulibaly and Badiashile, no Silva makes me very nervous.
Me too, and they were a mess. Like, did they just proved, didn't they? They proved why we feel so nervous when we don't see Silva in the back line. Again, Koulibaly picking up a before. A sooner than 10-minute yellow card. I can't remember the exact minute, but he did it again for the second game in a row, and he was subsequently subbed off at half time. For I guess just being so close to a red again, which is for a 31-year-old who's played hundreds of games at a high level in the Serie A to keep doing it is just crazy. And actually, Badiashile looked pretty bad as well.
Yeah,
probably
no
his worst
guidance.
Game.
That's the
No,
thing.
yeah.
Like no guidance. I mean, you can see the impact that Silva has on all the team. To be honest with you, everyone.
Yeah,
I mean, he is the puppeteer when he's out there on the field. I mean, Graham Potter might sit there and spout orders, but the one that they actually listen to is Silva, and you can tell that because he wasn't really there.
Yeah.
And I think Badiashile had terrible game. I think Koulibaly had a terrible game. Aspi had a terrible game, but you know what? We've got to mention Aspi getting kicked in the head. I mean, it wasn't the best thing to happen, obviously.
No.
And I was in absolute shock when it happened. But that doesn't take away from his performance. And I can't say that he played good just because he got injured or kicked in the head. Thank God he's okay. But I mean, it still doesn't take away the fact that you gave away the free kick that ultimately lost us the game.
It was a mindless. It was a mindless tackle.
Exactly, in a very, very important area. Like when you've got
the
James
area.
Ward, exactly. You've got James Ward-Prowse on the other team. That's like giving away a penalty. Like it's ridiculous. And I think it was a very, very mindless. Actually, I think the whole game was mindless.
Yeah, true. Yeah. Everyone was mindless, really. That Azpilicueta tackle that gave away the free kick that they ultimately scored from. It's quite funny. It reminds me, there's a thing in NBA, right? They go mad for stats and like positions and stuff.
Yeah.
And they have these things called hot zones, and so different players have these like different hot zones around the court. Normally, when it comes to shooting, it's like if you're gonna make a tackle anywhere, don't leave it in James Ward-Prowse's hot zone.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
Because this is where the guy scores free kicks from. This is why he's so he's so good. You know, this is his range and his angle, and it's almost a penalty for him, isn't it?
It literally
I think he is now only a one free kick behind David Beckham in the all-time Premier League direct free kick goals, and he's the second highest direct free kick goal scorer in like the last 5 seasons, with only Messi being higher than him. So
and you know what? If you think about it like that, these players would know that. These players would be warned. Don't give a free kick outside the box because James Ward-Prowse is an absolute animal. But everybody goes, don't worry about it. I'll do a little silly tackle. Why? What is the purpose behind this? Like, we're just giving away these stupid goals. And I can't even fault him. It was a brilliant free kick.
Yeah, it was great, wasn't it? Yeah,
it was tremendous.
Yeah. And if you give them opportunities like that, and everyone in the league knows we can't score, then you give yourself a pretty good chance of winning. And I think teams must know that at this point. Like, all we have to do is get one.
Yeah.
And they probably feel like, and we can hold out and we'll be all right because they don't score.
Yeah. Literally.
I think our goal difference is 0. Like, we literally 23 conceded.
Yeah.
23 scored. Like, apparently we've got the second best defense in the league.
Yeah.
In terms of pure numbers, I think only Newcastle have got better.
I think so. I think you're right on that one. Yeah.
And yet we're miles off it.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, we just can't put the ball in the bloody net, can we? And I mean, it just goes to show. I mean, what's it called? Felix got the goal of the month. Because it was the only goal of the month.
It was the only goal.
That just says everything.
That's
for
a way
you,
to
doesn't
guarantee you get an award, isn't it? Be like, all right, guys, I want the best goal of the month award. Can I be the only one to score a goal this month, please?
Yeah.
What a joke. I mean, Felix also had a stinker, by the way. We're talking about other stinkers. Looking at some of the stats here, 2 out of 7 successful dribbles attempts, which normally he's pretty good at. 5 out of 15 ground duels.
Terrible.
They just beasted and feasted on him.
Oh yeah.
No accurate crosses and a big chance missed as well.
Yeah.
He was many with stats lines like that. I mean, Mount, very controversial figure in the Chelsea scene. He touched the ball 23 times while he was on.
Yeah.
He was shunted out to left wing for some reason. Again, a position everyone knows he doesn't play his best, doesn't do his best work in. And this is an out of form Mount as well. He's had a strange season. He made 8 out of 13 accurate passes, 0 accurate crosses, 0 successful dribbles. He won 1 out of 8 ground duels and lost possession 9 times.
And I mean, you can't say that he's not having a bad season. I mean, that is ridiculous stats for Mount, who's, again, the negotiation contracts are stalling. And I wonder why. I mean, Jesus Christ, when you look at stats like this, like, I know that you're having a stinker, but no accurate crosses and no successful dribbles in the whole game. Like, What's going 23 on there? Touches.
I mean, hopefully, for all of them who play so badly, none of these guys are bad players. I can't look at anyone in that team and think you're a bad player.
No.
Apart from maybe Aspi, and I think he hasn't really been good enough to play for Chelsea for probably 2 years. I
think that's just because of age, though. He's not like
he's got a lot of mileage
player. Whereas Ziyech, I think he's a bad player. So it's
it's
sort of like swings and roundabouts there.
Yeah. But, so then I guess if we get into the second half, we obviously had some substitutions which might make you feel a bit better. Obviously. It might make you feel better. It doesn't make us feel any better, but it could do. And we maybe looked a bit better, like in terms of actually just having shots on target. Like, it's so mad that this is stuff that we have to get excited about.
I know.
It's so bad that we're like getting like that at the moment is to us is like, oh, well done, we had shots on target. This is the whole thing you play football to do for the whole game. But anyway, so we had Sterling and Havertz come on in the second half, who both looked all right.
Yeah, I think Sterling played quite good. I think the pace of him was tremendous against Southampton.
Yeah, he was obviously worn they're a quick out. Team as well.
And I think coming on in the second half really gave us that advantage. He didn't. You know what? He was very unlucky. I mean, it got saved off the line twice. In one sort of swift go. Was it a header and then he tried to volley it?
Yeah, it was like a stooped header.
It was like a stooped header, cleared off the line, volleyed it, cleared off the line again.
Great bloody clearance, by the way. Roman Perrault.
I mean, bloody hell, the defence, you can't knock it. You can't.
No, I know, yeah.
So, but it's heartbreaking, man, because with you know what, we created chances, and as you said, creating chances is a big thing for us.
So when we get one, it needs to count.
It needs to count. Put the ball in. So it was very heartbreaking to see that, but you can't take it away from Southampton. I mean, they played absolutely fantastic.
Yeah,
and I think
a lot
both
of people,
halves as well. I think they were on it. They were on it.
Oh yeah. A lot of analysts were saying that like the guy who was their manager for the day, Ruben Sellers, his name is. He was their assistant coach when they had Ralph Hasenhüttl before Nathan Jones took over. And obviously Hasenhüttl, again, another Bundesliga kind of coach with the Gegen pressing style, heavy metal football thing that Klopp obviously made quite famous. But they were all about under him. Just running, like athleticism and intensity, and it looked as if he brought it back to them because they were just everywhere. They were aggressive. They were in our faces, and the exact kind of, in hindsight, the exact kind of opponents you don't want to face when you're in such bad form.
No.
Because you're like and they've got nothing to lose. Like the second half of the season, they have to just go out there and just chuck whatever they can at the wall and see what sticks.
Yep.
So they just gave it everything full throttle, and we just couldn't handle it.
We just didn't care.
Yeah,
and it looked like we just couldn't care less.
No, well, did you see the video of them coming out of the tunnel? Like, I think for their warm up. Yeah. Did you see that? And then
Aspi was like, "Come on, let's go!"
I know, come on, guys, let's go warm up. Everyone's like, "Oh, I can't believe I'm here again. I can't believe I only got paid £200 this week." It's boring. So yeah, I think like the morale is so low that even a team like Southampton can just turn up and just give a bit of effort.
Yeah,
and that's enough to beat us. Like,
the thing is, not all our players are doing bad. I mean, you got to give props to Kepa. I think Kepa's been wonderful this season, to be quite honest with you. I don't think he's made many mistakes at all. I think
I still can't trust him.
I think it's just like a residing thing in the back of the head.
It is. I can't trust him.
You know what? I can't say he's been doing bad though, and especially against Southampton, he was amazing. No keeper in the world saving that free kick. So it's like you can't take that away from him. So there was also huge booing from the crowd at half time and at full time. Was absolutely astounding how loud they were as well. It was. You know what? I think they sort of spoke for all the Chelsea fans when they've done that. Yeah, and it's just not what we want to see.
No, and this is the first time that Chelsea have lost in the league. That Southampton have done a league double over Chelsea since 1988, which is nearly a 40-year record. Absolutely
ridiculous.
And I mean, and once the home crowd goes, who are the most like Yerdar passionate. Not the most passionate, but they are very slow, I think, to much slower than people on the internet, certainly, get really frustrated with the manager and want them out. And it hasn't really been that long. And I think you think of the amount of money and the faff it is to get to Stamford Bridge and to watch a game.
Oh yeah.
You think like it's not worth half the price of admission at the moment.
No, definitely not.
So I think what voice do fans have? No real voice or control of the club. But what they can do is, if things are really bad, they can boo.
Yeah.
And they can make it very clear. And I don't blame them, because that's 2 wins in 14 Premier League games.
Yep.
2 wins in 14 Premier League games,
Ridiculous.
Which is nearly a third of a season.
Yeah.
And we have Spurs next as well at their ground, which we actually have never lost or conceded a goal at.
See, I saw this stat, right? But I looked through the stats and we have conceded.
Well, we may have conceded at their old stadium, but I think it's the new stadium.
Is that what it is?
Yeah,
Right,
their
okay.
Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. We've never conceded or lost at. So
Okay.
basically, we are in relegation form.
Oh, yes.
And relegation goal scoring stats as well.
Which is not the place you want to be. Southampton done well for the 3 points. It's time we sort of like start striving for them 3 points as well. And I think the booing was adequate. I think it was deserved. And it's only going to get worse if we don't perform, So the players are going to be like, it's one of those, it's a downward slope now. It's going to snowball, and it's going to get absolutely worse unless you actually pull your finger out and do something. You can all work. You can all work harder. You can all run harder. You can all do everything bloody harder. It's just that you don't want to. For some reason, you don't want to. And I think it's maybe, I say the amount of played games, but it's not. We had like 2 weeks off a couple like weeks ago or whatever it was, and we still didn't see no improvement there. We didn't see no improvement from the Dortmund game to the Southampton game. It seems like we're just like, if we got possession, that'll do. And it's just not going to do. It's not going to do. No, especially in the Prem. You think you're going against these low teams. No one in the Prem is low team, because you're in the Prem. They're for a reason, And it will take you out if you're not careful.
And if we aren't careful, then we literally could be like slipped into a relegation battle.
Yeah.
And that sounds hyperbolic, and maybe it is, but it doesn't. If it continues like this, we honestly won't be far off.
No.
Now, I have seen though that we are already on 31 points, I think.
Yeah.
I think the average you've needed to stay up in the last, since for ages anyway, I can't remember the exact time, was 35 points to stay up.
Right,
so we won't go down, obviously.
Right.
But for a team of our ambition and our talent, it's not
good enough.
We're so far away from what we should be.
Yeah.
And a lot of people will say that's because of Potter and his management.
I think it is. It's a disgrace really to watch it. I feel deflated, and we just got to see what happens now and see if they can pull the finger out.
So obviously, that Southampton game raises some questions, or they did for me when I saw it, when I watched it back, that I think we need to answer ourselves. First one is it financially and competitively viable for the ownership group to not sack Potter at this point?
Financially competitive. Jesus Christ, my head's gone west there. I think. How much was this contract?
Oh, right. Don't get me started on this. But you got me started on this. Right. Let me say, right. This guy apparently had a £1.75 million annual salary at Brighton. Yeah. We spent 25 million to buy him out of their club. We basically did a transfer for him.
Wow.
Approximately. We gave him a £12 million a year contract for 5 years.
No.
So we almost times his salary by nearly 6 times. Yeah, I know, right? Look at your face.
Oh my God! I didn't know that.
Mikel Arteta, not the best manager, but he's on apparently 8 million a year.
Yeah,
I think only Pep and Klopp might be on more than Potter.
Mate, he's taking the piss.
So, but what it means is that to sack him, it's a £60 million buyout because he's not even done a full year, is he?
No.
So he's still got 5 years of a contract.
So
left,
no,
or
it's not
4.5.
financially. It's not financially.
Exactly. So a lot of people are saying, is it an FFP thing? You know, like can they afford to do it via FFP? I don't know if managers fall into that. Maybe they do.
No, they probably do.
It's just money spent and lost.
But it's just that's ridiculous.
But
12 mil a year.
12 mil a year. But then people might say that the amount of money you get from being in the Premier League and being in the Champions League, for example, is astronomical. So is it actually a cheaper thing to do to sack him now if he's not up to the job?
Higher in the table.
Get a better manager, get higher, and make more money. So maybe it'll balance it out, you know?
I think it's if we had still the old regime of Roman Abramovich, I think he would have gone.
Yeah, for sure.
Months ago. But I think with this new one, I think they're gonna have to sort of. It's a 50-50, isn't it? I mean, if you get a new manager in, are the players going to take to him? Are the players going to do anything? Are we going to go up to fourth or even sixth for the Europa or something? We don't know. We don't know what's going to happen. You might lose all your bloody games. But is it a risk worth taking? Probably not for their financial gains.
No.
And I honestly
and
still
for their
think,
PR as well.
Yeah, exactly. That's another thing with Todd Boehly. Like he looks like he's going against his word of keeping Potter, but then it sort of makes you look stupid if your club keeps on losing and you don't get rid of him. So it's a bit of a catch-22 for him. But
there's no point having a process if at the beginning of the process the manager has the worst win percentage of any Chelsea manager in recent history ever. Which, by the way, based on stats that I found on Wikipedia, that he had during his stint at Brighton, it's actually not that different from what he was doing at Brighton. So he managed 135 games at Brighton. He won 42, drew 46, and lost 47. He had a win percentage of 31.1%. Boehly and co. thought this is the guy we want to get to herald in, to shepherd a new successful version of Chelsea that is still going to be great, but different from what it was before. This is the guy they choose. So, and they put so much money and like their faith behind him. They can't not back him.
They can't go back on it now.
They can't because they'll just look so ridiculous.
They'll look stupid. They'll look stupid to everyone.
So they put us in a real
media and all that. So
they put us in such a shit
rock
position,
and a hard
haven't
place.
They really have, and it actually makes me realise that maybe Potter's not so much the fault. It's actually enthusiastic new owners who made crazy decisions without having a full team in place and just going for it,
without having a knowledge of football.
Yeah, exactly, and just seeing what happened. Like a lot of people are saying that, like their LA Dodgers franchise, their baseball franchise in America, are now apparently supposed to be quite good. But do you know how long it took them to win their first title once they took over?
It's like 3 years or something.
7 years.
7?
Yeah, Chelsea ain't.
We ain't built like that, bro.
We ain't built like that, bro.
We haven't got that patience.
It's already been too long.
It's got 6 months. We're done.
Yeah, exactly. So. Like, you don't get that time in football. You can't.
No.
Other clubs can. Everton can because they're all right, but they're not great. Yeah. Like you expect it. I mean, they've never won a Premier League, but still, Chelsea can't do
leagues?
That. I think so.
Can you drop from the?
No, you can't be relegated. No.
So that's.
But that's what I mean.
Straight off the bat. I mean, that's done. Like
good. That was a good pun.
Nice. Nice. I mean so you have no fear in not winning games.
You can You can just stick with a guy, can't you?
Thing is, if we keep on losing for 7 years, we're in 10th division against bloody Oxfordshire or something. So
Oxfordshire FC, that famous club.
It's not going to happen, is it? You know what I mean? Little Harefield United next. You know, like it doesn't make sense. Like it can't do it.
Yeah, London Derby against Hayes and
Yenin. That'd be sick. There.
So, and it makes
we'll still lose.
Yeah, we'll still lose. Of course we will. And it makes you think, like, was the wall pulled over our eyes a bit with the ownership group because they spent all the money? Do you think that spending kind of clouded our judgment? Like,
yes,
we didn't look critically enough at what they were doing.
Yeah, I totally think that. I think They've shoved money in the players' face, they've shoved money in the manager's face, and they've shoved money in our face. And I think that is a major problem where they've just blinded everyone, been like, look, we care. And it's just like, no,
we bought him.
Do you know what you're doing? Do you know what you do? I mean, you bought 300 odd million pound of players in January or something. Where's the striker, bruv? Like, we needed a number 9, and you went, don't think so, actually. Potter, tell them that you don't need one. And then Potter's gone, we don't need one. I'm on 12 mil. Don't care.
Don't care. So, and if I don't do well and you fire me, 50 mil, mate.
Exactly.
60 mil, mate.
Cheers. Thanks.
Cheers.
Yeah, so that's literally what it is.
It's a nightmare. It really is a crazy situation. And it's just, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad to think that people can just come in and just do that to a massive institution.
Crazy.
But that's kind of the way that sport is. Obviously, in the days after the game, and with those questions in mind, there have been reports that come out. Again, I think Matt Law from the Telegraph saying that board they're sticking with Potter and he's not under too much pressure. Having said that, today a news story came out that Christopher Vivell, our new technical director, apparently has held crisis meetings today. So maybe there are shades of he now is under pressure because
very much so. I think everybody. I think the whole of the board's under pressure from everyone and fans, and I think investors as well. Investors would be like, hang on, if we're not going into top 4, we're not going into European football. Where's our money coming from? Why have we gave you all this investment to now spend on crap? And you haven't. What's the show for it? It's the same as any business. So,
it has a major knock-on effect, and they knew it as well because they even said it when they first bought. They said, "We want Chelsea to be good because we know that good clubs make more money because they're good, and people want to play for you, and people want to sponsor you."
Yes,
like our 3 deal is up in the summer. Our shirt sponsor that's up in the summer. Thank God. But what company at this point is going to be willing to give us, top of the Premier League levels of sponsorship?
Oh, mate, it'll probably be like Aviva or something like that.
It'll be like Greg's. It'll be Greg's, mate, on the front of our shirt.
You know what? I'm game.
I'm game.
As long as they got sausage rolls in the stadium, we're all good.
We're laughing.
You know what? I think that would actually quite go.
If you go to their shops, if you wear a Chelsea shirt, you get a free pasty or a free
little 10% discount. I'll have that.
I would be keen actually. Let's have Greg's. Let's start Greg's. That'd be banging.
It would be some shitty little investment group like AXA Insurance who does. Is it Tottenham?
Liverpool, isn't it? AIA, I thought.
AIA, that's the one. AIA Insurance, whoever they are. It'll be something random. It'll be something like that, or I don't know. It'll either be that or 3 will continue, but I highly doubt it.
I don't think they will.
No.
So obviously, if there is pressure, and then you would think they're starting looking at other managers. Again, more links have come out this week that a few big managers' names have cropped up. We've got Zinedine Zidane, Zizou, Mauricio Pochettino, Diego Simeone, who is leaving Atletico apparently at the end of this season after I think 15 years in charge, and Luis Enrique, who was a Spain manager who kind of took them far-ish in the World Cup, but they play some of the worst football I've ever seen, and it was terribly boring. They apparently make the short list. If that's the tough thing, isn't it? Always at this point is if the patience does run out and he does get sacked.
Who do we get?
Yeah, do any of those names interest you?
No. Are any of them names good enough to get us back into this winning rhythm? Zinedine
I think
Zidane.
They've all got major flaws.
He basically got gifted his accolades. I mean, Real Madrid were Real Madrid. Real Madrid were a force to be reckoned with. So it was he had prime Cristiano Ronaldo, alongside
prime Casemiro,
Benzema, alongside all Bale. Of these absolutely godly football players. It's not going to make a difference. I mean, you come here, you got Koulibaly getting yellow cards every 4 seconds. So I don't think that, and I really don't want Pochettino either. I don't know. There's no one. There's no one that springs to mind.
No. I mean, he's the one out of all those 4 names that makes most sense. I think
it does. It does make sense, but
having, he has won a league with PSG. I mean, how hard is that to do in Ligue 1? Probably not that hard.
Yeah.
He has obviously got loads of Premier League experience. He has molded teams together that are full of young players who like develop into great players.
Oh yeah.
But ex-Spurs as well. I don't know. Yeah, Diego Simeone, very like dinosaur football, incredibly defensive. Felix would definitely not want to sign because he doesn't like him or they don't get on very well.
Yeah.
Not that I think Felix is going to sign anyway. A lot of people seem to.
I don't like him either, to be honest.
Yeah, I just don't think that would work very well. And then Luis Enrique, as I said, Spain plays some of the worst, most boring, horrible, high possession, no fun football I've seen in a long time. And I don't know if that's just because it's like the nerves of international and you just play more conservatively.
Yeah.
So yeah, obviously this is what happens when you sack potentially one of the best options for a manager you can get in the world and Tuchel, replace him with an idiot. And now you have burnt bridges with that manager who everyone we've hired and sacked everyone at this point. And the people left over just aren't. Maybe they're not as good to butter them up.
I still don't think Tuchel should have been fired. It was obviously in-house arguments going on, and what I think happened was Tuchel wasn't going to be pushed over like Potter will.
Yeah, exactly.
And I think Tuchel had a plan in place, what players he wanted. I want this, I want that, I want that. That's how the team's going to be run. Todd Boehly's gone in and gone, nah, I'm going to do it my way. Let's go and hire someone who doesn't care, Graham Potter. Put him on 12 times his salary, whatever the hell it was. We'll be all right, sort of thing. And I'll manage it because that's what it bloody seems like. He might as well have a bloody on the phone to Todd as he's bloody managing. Because that's what it really does seem like. And Todd hasn't got a clue about football. And it shows. It really does show. But, managers, there's no one that I want. You know what? The only manager I want?
Who's that?
Is Tommy T. I want Tuchel back. That's what I want. I want Tuchel back. Nice. And if he does come back, I think we would win. I think we would win the Champions League. I wouldn't put it past him, to be honest. If he came in and did what he did with us when he came in the first time, it'd be amazing. Definitely. I mean, come on. What he done with the team that we had before and won the Champions League, he's now got Enzo.
I know. Can you imagine?
Felix and Mudryk.
Oh, he would be eating so good with that team.
Like talk about pressing. Like Jesus Christ,
it'd be amazing. It'd be amazing. But we'll see. We can only dream. Mason Mount, as we mentioned before, contract situation still an issue. Apparently, the decision will be made in the summer after the season is done. At this moment in time, morale is it through the floor. He's playing terribly. It's not looking good, Brev.
It's not looking good, Brev. And you know what? It's quite disheartening because he's meant to be the Chelsea boy.
That's what people tell us.
It shouldn't matter what your contract is. You're playing for the club. You're on good wages. You don't need bloody loads. I mean, you're shocking at the moment. You can't expect it. And signing, if he says, it's an 8-year deal, sign an 8-year deal. Maybe with a clause in it where you can, reassess the wages every 2 years or every 3 years or something like that. I mean, it's shocking that it's gone on this long. And I don't know if that's down to Todd. I don't know if that's down to the board. I don't know if that's down to Potter or Mount himself. Because if it is Mount himself, I've got a lot of problems with that.
That'd be a shame, wouldn't it?
I think with Chile and Reece, they're on brand new contracts. I think it took Reece quite a long time. Well, compared to Mount, not a long time. I think it took Reece a couple of weeks, good few weeks of negotiations. That's how it's meant to be, though, And with Mount, it's been going on for nearly a whole bloody season. So I think it's very disheartening from Mount himself. If I was in his position, playing for the club that I love, and he's been at the club since he was a kid, and I just don't get why you wouldn't sign anything just to keep with that club.
For sure.
Where else do you see Mount playing, really?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Like, really, he. I don't think he's done well enough in his career to get picked up by, like the only step really from Chelsea at this point is, I don't know, maybe like PSG, Bayern, Real, Barca, and those are the only clubs I say that have they kind of, they're in that stratosphere, aren't they?
Yeah. Well, I don't think he's good enough for them, to be honest.
No, but that's what I was going to say. But he doesn't do anything that they have players who don't already do.
Yeah.
And obviously, so he has a chance in the Premier League teams. Exactly. I know links to Man United and Liverpool, which makes sense. But
I just don't think he would fit that style of play. I don't think it'd fit Liverpool's style of play at all. With Man United, I think if you do go there, that's scum. But I mean, he's just not good at this season. He is not good enough at all for anyone in the Prem, to be quite honest with you. True. And that's what I just said. Roma, he's a bang average Italian bloody midfielder. Is
Mourinho might snap him
You know
up.
what I mean? It's sort of I don't know what other words to use, but this.
It's a shame, and honestly. It's frustrating.
And I love the kid, I absolutely love him, and I think when he was in that spell of being absolutely brilliant, he was amazing to watch. And now the confidence is drained. You know what it's like, actually? It's like watching Werner all over again.
Yeah.
Because it's just a decline, and it's sad to see. It really is. And he's going to be, if he doesn't buck up his ideas before long, he'll be shipped off to somewhere else. And someone would be, already is, but someone would be in his position at Chelsea. So,
yeah, true. I know. I'm hoping he doesn't go, but, these things happen. This football, man, it's mad. I get it. You only have one career. An 8-year, 7-year contract might be a bit scary as a 24-year-old as he is. But again, if you're proper Chelsea, then you stick around.
You don't care. You're at the club that you want to be.
And you're getting good money regardless. So,
exactly.
And surely you'd want to help us fight out of this bad situation.
Yeah.
Another player, obviously, N'Golo Conte, my favourite player in the Chelsea squad. N'Golo Conte. Chelsea are confident of an agreement will be reached over a new contract. Conte apparently is very settled in London and is willing to stay.
Yeah,
he's already our best played player, I believe, maybe under Lukaku, but we don't talk about him.
Who?
Yeah, exactly. So, although he's had lots of injury issues this season, I still want it to happen because I love the guy. I'm definitely going to get next season. I'm definitely going to get a shirt with Conte number 7 on the back. I just have to say that now. I've been saying that for years.
I think he's amazing. It's just like, and when he plays, you can tell he actually just, not even for the club, he actually loves the game.
Yeah.
He just loves the game. And
can you imagine him and Enzo together in midfield?
Oh my God.
Like if N'Golo comes back and he is the N'Golo that we know, even if he's 90% of the N'Golo that we know.
Yeah.
Like, can you imagine him, like the way they would work together in midfield?
Because Conte holds midfield. He'll be the defensive midfielder. He'll make sure that back line is covered, allowing Enzo to push forward as he normally does, as he was used to in his old club, and it allows him to a bit more freedom around the ball instead of doing these defensive duties as we've seen that he can't do against Dortmund. I can't put it upon him. He's not a bloody defender. I mean, he's a central mid. Is he a CDM technically, or is he a central mid? Enzo.
Centre mid, centre mid. It's so fluid, isn't it, with midfielders? But
I don't think he's not. His defensive capabilities aren't the highest, but if you add Conte into that mix, it's a dream world.
I think it's a good. Yeah, they're both very dynamic and aggressive, and they put a lot of effort and they get in people's faces, both of them.
Yeah.
I think it'd be a nice mix, and I
think they'll work well together so much. Yeah.
I have a feeling they would too. I don't know why, it just feels right. It's players on a certain caliber. You know what they say? Like, if you get ballers with other ballers, they're gonna ball.
Oh no.
Do you know what I mean? Like that's football.
Hang on, you froze a little bit.
No, yeah, you're back.
Fucking hell, mate.
Yeah. Let's get this fucking episode over.
All right.
You know what they say? If you get ballers with ballers, they're gonna ball.
Yeah.
So I hope he does sign. I hope he does stay. Pay him whatever he wants. I love him. He's built up enough good credit in the bank that he can do whatever he wants. I'm happy for it to happen, to be honest.
No, I totally agree. I think that link up will be absolutely incredible. Very dynamic, very fast as well. So Yeah,
That'd be
I
lovely.
think that it'd be great.
Do we have any women's news this week?
No women's news this week. We haven't really. Well, we haven't played. We haven't played since
No game
since the win over West Ham. Nothing really going on.
No, the only thing I know is that obviously I know England women's were playing in the called the Conti Cup?
Something like
no,
that.
it isn't called that. It was called like
Isn't it?
something Arnold Trophy. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I can't
Arnold
remember the name.
Schwarzenegger.
No, not him. That would be a cool trophy though.
Yeah.
And I know that Lauren James has played. I think she scored in one, and she assisted in another. So she's played really well, basically. So, news alert: both the Jameses are really good at football.
Shock.
Yeah, shock, exactly. But
what about the youth? What's going on in the youth?
The youth. Under 21s, the Chelsea development squad, they drew with Liverpool on the weekend. Okay. That was 0-0. That leaves them second in the under 21s, like the PL2, they call it, league.
Right.
2 points behind Man City's under 21s. But City do have a game in hand, so could be a 5-point gap. Bit awkward.
Okay.
Chelsea under 18s.
Yep.
Were absolutely beaten and feasted by Arsenal under 18s. That's 4-1 loss they took at home. Just a singular goal coming from Ronnie Stutter, basically making the only positive you could take from that game.
Yeah.
This leaves all right, good result for Arsenal, but they are still 7 points behind Chelsea.
Yeah.
Who themselves are only 1 point behind the second and third teams above them. But a full 16 points behind the team that we beat last week, West Ham. So it doesn't look as if they're going to be winning that league anytime soon.
Right.
And the jury's still out whether or not the development squad can also do the same. So not the most positive weekend for youth football at Chelsea.
No.
But
not a positive weekend for bloody anyone at Chelsea.
No, that's
apparently.
True. That is true. That is a good point. Yeah.
It's just depressing all round, guys.
The mood is quite low.
Rival watch.
Rival watch.
Yeah. Man United received a substantial bid from chairman of the Qatari bank.
I
can't say his name.
Sheikh. Here we go. I'm going to give it a go. Sheikh Jassim bin Hamad Al Thani. I reckon that's pretty good.
Yeah. We'll go with that.
Chairman of the Qatari bank. Obviously, PSG are Qatari owned, sovereign Qatari owned. So that obviously calls into question some like sporting questions if they ethics if they meet each other in the Champions League. But they are making this bid through a company called like the 92 Foundation, which is it's his own private money. It's nothing to do with their government. It's clearly bollocks.
Right.
But apparently they've tabled a substantial bid. There was like a soft deadline that I think the club wanted to get ideas about what money they might receive without it being official. And then I think a day or two after that, Ineos, which is a global chemical firm run by British billionaire Jim Ratcliffe, also tabled bids. I think apparently around the £4 billion mark for United. This is the same guy that actually also tried to buy Chelsea not long ago when we were up for sale last year, and also already owns a club in France.
Isn't he a Chelsea fan?
Nice. No, he's a Man United fan. I think he's from Manchester.
Oh, right, okay.
So, but he was doing all the PR last season about, I'm going to transform the club and take them to new heights, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So United look like they are ready for a takeover, which makes me nervous because we've got too many rich clubs.
You know what? I've seen this, right? I've seen all the news about the takeover and stuff, but then I've also seen contradicting news where they're saying that they don't want to be taken over and they're just going to make developments instead and get more investors. Really? So I'm not too sure what's going on there. It's all a bit of a mad one, but you know what? I think they really do need to be taken over at this point. And just freshen everything up, honestly.
The Glazers have kind of run them into the ground a bit. Haven't they?
So I'm guessing Elon Musk is out there running for it.
Yeah, I've heard no more stories about him.
Same.
Thankfully, we can keep his name out of the news. Another thing that happened last week as well, VAR assistant ref Lee Mason, he has left Pogmol, which is I don't know the full title, but it's a Premier League organisation, left by mutual consent.
mutual consent.
Mutual. Yeah. Coming days after his huge error in the Arsenal Brighton match, which was last weekend now. So, do you think this kind of shows like a sign of things are going to change?
No, I don't. I don't at all. No. I think it's covering tracks. And I think
he's a sacrificial lamb.
I think it literally is a sacrificial lamb. I think get rid of him, and then it shows that we're doing something. But really, we don't really care. Where's the bloke that was doing VAR for Chelsea? Where's he? Is he still hired? Because that was outrageous. So I think it's one of those, sweep it under the rug. He'll take the fall. They've obviously paid him out. And so we'll give you a few grand. Go on, go on the dough or something. So I think it's just a scapegoat.
PR stunt.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. To make it seem like they're doing anything. What they really need to do is retraining. Yes, that's why I think retraining and to get these decisions better and quicker. But what they'll do is just do anything they can to not do anything. So
yeah, that's true. Yeah, to make it look like there's something. Obviously, the weekend of results that we saw in the Premier League, the game week that we obviously lost to Southampton. Yeah, it was a bit of a mad one. Arsenal came back late to beat Aston Villa 4-2. I say, it was late. It was like the 86th minute.
It was, very late.
Or the 93rd, actually. I think it might be the 93rd.
Yeah.
Jorginho was the one who popped up. 25-yarder screamer, which he never produced for us.
No, where was that?
Probably close to 200 games, so thanks for that, Jorginho. It wasn't his goal, though. It did bounce off the post and off the back of Martinez's heading goal. He didn't actually get the goal. It was actually an own goal, so he can't put that on his stat sheet.
Thankfully,
take that. But take that. But still won them the game, which puts them in a good spot, especially after then Man City went to draw 1-1 at Nottingham Forest.
Right.
Which leaves Arsenal in a very strong position.
Yes,
Man City seem a bit dodgy, a bit shaky at the moment. Unfortunately, our major rivals who we'll be seeing next weekend, or the weekend coming, I should say, on Sunday, Spurs make the top 4 after a pretty comfortable win over West Ham, which is mad because they're so bad and they have been for so long, and yet they're in the top 4, climbing up the table. Just goes to show how bad we are.
We're terrible. Yeah.
So,
we are fully in the mud. And I think we just need to get out of this bloody quicksand that we're in.
So that leaves us with 11 points behind them now. They are in 4th spot, 11 points behind them. We do have a game in hand over them. But obviously, we are due to play them this weekend, and if things don't go well, we could be 14 points behind them, top 4, which would, it's over already. We're not getting top 4. I get that, but that feels like the kind of final nail in the coffin.
At this point, I want top 10.
Literally,
at this point, I would go for top 10 because
you might as well let it get so bad that it can't get any worse the season after.
I just don't want to be bloody like bottom half of the table, which we're very close to.
We are.
So I want to. You know what? I want at least 6th. Then let's go with that. But I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon.
No, because Liverpool also beat Newcastle as well on the weekend.
They did.
They had a good game,
and then something happened. Happened against Real Madrid.
For the delight of beating a potential top 4 rival in Newcastle, Liverpool, I think they are up to 6th now or something like that. I don't know. They might still be 8th, but they're on better form anyway.
Yeah,
they're recovering a bit. They then went on to lose, which happened last night for us, 5-2 to Real Madrid in the Champions League at Anfield.
Yep.
Absolutely peppered in the second half. They were winning 2-0.
Within 20 minutes.
Within 20 minutes.
16 minutes, I think, actually.
16.
And they were looking apparently amazing. And we're on form. Everybody was up for it. And then once Real Madrid put the gas in, put the pedal to the metal. They got smoked. Absolutely
Kareem the Dream Benzema, absolutely rolling back the years. The guy's 35, absolutely dominating. His second goal was amazing. The way that he took it past Alisson and then 2 defenders on the line. He was like, do you know what? I'm going to pick out the spot where the defenders aren't with my wrong foot, my weak foot.
As you do.
I'm just going to, and top bins it, and he did. And it was great. So kudos to Kareem for doing that. And that's about it really in terms of rival watch. Not much else has happened that I know of. I don't spend all of my week seeing what they're doing. You know what I mean? I'm dedicated to Chelsea.
We're just focusing on like the big news stories, and with Liverpool losing, it's going to be a demoralising situation. So that's going to in fact impact this weekend's games with the morale and everything going on. Yeah. So we'll see what happens there. We've got Spurs on Sunday. I'm hoping that our rested players are now back and not going to be rested again against the top 4 team. Hopefully, bloody not. And I'm hoping to see Reece, Silva, Chile. I want old guys back. I want Badia Shield in the middle. So this is sort of my lineup, I guess. And then obviously Kepa in goal. I would like to see Enzo. You know what? I'd like to see Enzo and
Sakaria?
No.
Kovacic.
Kovacic just one.
Kovacic,
Kova. I want to see Enzo and Kova in the middle again. I think Kova had a very bad game, but you know what? It's one of those getting back into it, and I think Kova with Enzo will be very good because Kova's quite defensive himself. And then obviously our front, I would like to see Madueke. Is that how you say his name? Madueke?
Yeah, Madueke. Yeah.
I want Madueke. I would like to see Fofana up top again, starting at least, or even like take Havertz off 60 minutes in and give Fofana quite a good run out. And on the left, I want Mudryk, and then in the middle either Felix or even. No, Felix, yeah. I was going to say Mount. Just to give him a go, but you know what? It's top 4. I can't do it.
Yeah, no.
How do you feel?
I don't feel confident. Something like that. At this point, I'm not bothered. Like, honestly, it's true. I can't get. There's no point me thinking and theorizing. Yeah. I don't trust any of them in the squad at the moment, and I don't think they trust themselves.
I don't want to see Ziyech anywhere near that bloody pitch.
So I don't know. It's not looking good, Brev. Tottenham aren't good, but they're better than us at the moment.
Yeah.
And they've got players who will score if they get a chance. Kane, Son, who has actually had a terrible season, but he's actually played quite well recently. So I don't see us playing well. I think it might be like a cheeky 2-0 loss. And that's it really. That's what I'm thinking.
Well, I think that's it for this podcast.
I think we should, before it gets really sad.
I'm feeling it's been tough. Emotional.
It's been tough.
So we'll love you and leave yous. Hopefully we do well on Sunday, and as always, up the Chelsea.
Up the Chelsea. Have a good week. See you later.
Peace.
Thanks for listening to The Pride. If you enjoyed what you heard, feel free to leave us a review on your podcast app of choice, and maybe drop a like or follow on our YouTube, Twitter, TikTok and Instagram pages. And as always, up the Chelsea.